Strategy and service. What if these two things were the key to you getting more visible? My guest today says these two things are an important part as she continues to battle this uncomfortableness with being visible in her business. Welcome to Show Up and Be Seen. I'm Valerie McTavish, sharing insights and inspirations to help you get visible so that you can increase your impact and grow your business. I want to welcome to the show Lisa May Huby. She is an amazing woman. I'm super excited to have her on the show and so glad that she has come into my world and we've connected. She is a high performance breakthrough and success mentor. And I decided to invite her on the show because I think she does a bang up job of showing up for her business. And guess what? When I asked her, she said yes, which is another good sign that she's willing to show up for her business. But I know she still has challenges. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is so exciting.
So I see your social media feeds. You do a great job of having lots of imagery and showing up on a regular basis and being consistent. Did you and do you still have challenges with visibility and showing up for your business?
Absolutely. And I've been in, as you know, because we've spoken before, I've been in business for a long time online. And, like 14 and a half plus years now and counting, and which is like 100 normal people years, right? But absolutely. And, in the early days, it was the same old fear of being judged, fear of showing up. And, we all deal with fear in different ways and we all want to hide. And, but it also, pardon me, it often shows up differently for different people as well. And so as I have progressed over the years, what I used to, the main thing that I used to struggle with isn't necessarily the same thing that I struggle with now. And this is one of the things that I work with my clients, and showing up differently at every level, because new level, new devil. And it's often the same things that we've struggled with in the past and thought we had kind of overcome, but now it's just put on a different face. And so we don't see it for what it really is until we dive in and uncover it.
So, talk to me a little bit about this because I think that when people are dealing with this struggle to show up for their business and they feel, excuse me, when they feel uncomfortable with putting themselves out there, tell me a little bit about what happens at these different levels. How does it change? Because I think we all too often we think, okay, I just have to do this thing. I have to get over this one hurdle and then it's, free sailing, right? It's all clear from here on. So tell me about the challenges that can sometimes creep up even after you've made that first step.
Yeah. So after that first giant step of actually doing it, we can often fall back into our old patterns and our habits, and it becomes pretty easy. Suddenly we may find ourselves with a really crazy week. We've got a big launch going on and all the things going on in the background. And meanwhile, there's all kinds of stuff that's hit the fan on our personal life as well. And so it can be really overwhelming. And so our natural tendency is to pull back and hide because, oh, I either don't have time for it or I just don't feel like dealing with this today.
Yeah, and that's when all of those convenient excuses start to creep in and we justify the not showing up. And we do it, maybe for slightly legitimate reasons, but we kind of hang on to them because it's a legitimate reason and before you know it, those are adding up and then suddenly we're in full-blown procrastination. Right?
Yes.
We're putting it off indefinitely.
Yeah. And one of the big things I learned fairly recently, in fact, is that, you know, going live or being visible in whatever shape or form that's going to take for you doesn't have to take a long time. It can be something as simple as a 2-line post. Maybe it's your favorite quote. Maybe it is a 30-second video that you're going to share with somebody. But the thing, and I shared this just before we got on here, is the thing that helps me be more consistent with showing up is knowing that if I don't show up today, then this thing that I have to say and share, the person that needs to hear this most today isn't going to hear it.
It's so, so, so true. And, I want to back up what you said before, which is showing up even in a little way can sometimes have an even bigger impact. Jumping on a live video and doing a quick story, or sharing what's going on in your world, or giving someone sort of a behind the scenes look to your life can it can increase the amount of connection that you have, because it's not as organized, it's not so produced. And so I tell people this all the time, so I'm happy to hear you say that. But I want to dive a little bit deeper into this idea that, being in service, sharing your message is a service. So not sharing that message means that you're failing someone who might need you that day. And that's such a powerful message. So, how do people tap into that? Because so often we underestimate the value of what we have to share.
Absolutely. And we deal with this stuff every day ourselves, and so it's easy for us not to understand the enormous value that we have at whatever level we're at as business owners and entrepreneurs and people. Someone else is going through the stuff that we've already dealt with. But I think so often we don't recognize the value, and because we haven't raised the level of necessity. And I think, raising that level of it being necessary for us to share what we have to share and to be visible, so we can inspire those other people that we want to lead and help them improve and be of service to them. I think that is the key driver in actually, igniting that fire inside. So, okay, I have to do this. It becomes a non-negotiable because you've raised that level.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that I love to do is save those emails that come in, save those comments that come in. Every time someone says to me, "Thanks, I needed to hear that today," I put that in a special folder in my, Google Drive, so that anytime I'm second guessing that my message has any kind of impact, or that it doesn't matter if I skip today.
Yeah.
That's my little, reminder that, maybe this email might not have come in if I'd skipped that day.
That's a great idea, and because we don't celebrate things enough, first of all, and so that's a great way to, you can go back, you can get that boost that you might need for your energy for the day, because you know as well as I do that it gets really tough when you're being consistent, you're being visible, and there's no comments coming in.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I just want to remind people that, and I'm sure you've done this. If you're watching this, I know you. There are people who will just watch and watch and consume and never comment. There are just the vast majority of people will receive the information and never message you back, never respond, or it might take them a year to actually communicate and connect with you. And that's not because your message isn't valuable, it's because that's where they are at this present moment.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that this can sometimes be a long haul. And I bet you've had this experience, May, where someone will connect with you seemingly out of the blue and then tell you that they've been following you for a year.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always something like, oh, really? Okay. Okay. And but it always, it's a little mind blowing when you find out that someone has been following you all this time, and finally decided to reach out, and just for a simple hello and a thank you or something like that. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But up until then, they were invisible to you. So you don't always know the service you're providing. You don't always know the impact that your message has. And so that's why you have to keep showing up, and you have to have faith. It's going to mean something to someone that day. So at the beginning of the show, I teased that your secrets are service. We talked about that. And then the other one is strategy. And this kind of comes down to intention, right? So, how do you use intention and strategy to inspire you to keep being visible?
Yeah. So I'm so glad you asked. And I think both of these words get thrown around a lot. I found not too long ago that I was trying to be over strategic, right? So I was strategizing about everything, but that led to a whole bunch of other issues. So, and one of them was visibility, right? All of a sudden, I was busy strategizing, and I picked up on the pattern. It's like, hang on a second, this is keeping me invisible again. So um, I had to learn to not over strategize. But the other thing is intention. And I think a lot of it, when we hear the word intention, we think of kind of the woo woo and the feel good stuff, like my intention for the week or my intention for the month. But what that really means is showing up with the intent to do something, to get a specific outcome or a result. So in this case, because I am a bit of a strategy geek as well, right? The two go hand in hand. And so by just being a whole lot more thoughtful in how I use my time, that helps me show up differently as well and more consistently. Because I know I have this finite amount of time. I don't know if I shared this with you before or not, but I only usually work about 4 hours a day. And that is time that I spend super, super focused on exactly what I want to get done for the day. So part of that, of course, is visibility. And so that helps me just show up more powerfully. It helps me focus on the outcome that I want to get for that day.
Yeah, and that is powerful. And I think there are a lot of people here who are resonating with, well, one, with the idea of working 4 hours a day. I'm sure lots of people are resonating with that, especially if it just comes down to being really focused and intentional with your actions. I think that's important. But I want to kind of jump back to something else that I don't want to be missed. And that is, we can spend so much time working on our strategy that we forget to show up.
Yes.
And we kind of legitimize it because we think we're working hard, we're in the back room, we're planning, we're strategizing. And this can sometimes be a form of procrastination and avoidance because we don't want to do the hard work of showing up and opening ourselves up to the world to say, hey, this is what I'm working on, this is what I've got for you, because that opens us up to that rejection that we're so afraid of sometimes.
Absolutely. And it's and we experience that at all the levels, at the beginning stages, the more advanced stages. And we're so busy, as you pointed out, and yet we're not focused on the things that are actually going to matter to our business, because being busy doesn't equal success. So you can be doing all the strategizing and planning that you want, or out there building funnels or whatever, but if you're not focused on those key activities,
Mm-hmm.
because we are, like you said, we like to justify it. Oh, I'm busy, I'm doing these things, but maybe they're not the right things. So visibility is going to be one of the big things that moves your business forward. And so stop negotiating with yourself and justifying everything, and stop trying to be so busy, and focus on the things that are actually going to matter to you and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works. It works. And you're proof of that. You already told us that you're working 4-hour work days. That's amazing. What other impact has showing up for your business, being visible, had on your success?
Well, I get to speak with amazing women like you. My connections and my network has grown exponentially. It's just kind of gone through the roof, which is amazing. And I love, having the opportunities to chat with women like you and inspire other people. But, connections is a big part of one of my values as well. So it's just amazing to be able to connect with people and feel, um, not necessarily feel powerful in doing that, but kind of overcome that introversion and the aversion to actually saying hello to someone, just for the simple fact of getting to know them, not going out there and cold pitching them or anything like that, which is a whole other topic. But
It
but
is. Yes,
it's,
absolutely.
and the more you be visible, or sorry, the more you are visible, um, it becomes a whole lot more natural. So you become more comfortable on camera or sharing the things you're going to share. And before you know it, I mean, you may still run into the issues with actually showing up, but once you do show up, then practice makes perfect,
Yeah.
and so you get to experience a whole new level of life and business when you show up consistently.
Well, you are singing my song. We follow the same tune. Everything that you said there, I'm just like, check, 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 check. This is exactly what I think that people need to understand if they're struggling with visibility. There's so much power to it, but not just because it's going to move the needle for your business, because it's going to give you the opportunity to make these connections. And these connections are what it's really all about. And, that's what I teach in my video marketing mastery program, is that video is about connections, not about marketing. And so this is basically what you're saying too. And I absolutely love that. And on that note, I think what we need to do is let people know that if they want to connect with you, then they can check out the description, because we'll put all the links to your socials so that people can connect with you directly and find out maybe a little bit more about your mentoring as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And remember, you got into business to help someone solve a problem, and you can't do that if you stay hidden. So show up for them, show up for your business, and show up for yourself. We'll see you next time.